30 seconds. 20 seconds. 15 seconds. 10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
In your face, all over the place. We're online 24/7. 24/7. You're listening to the hottest internet station.
From beautiful Saline in southeastern Michigan.
Around the world at sunsky.mysteries.com.
This is the 2009 Top 10 Webcam in the World winner. This is SETV.
Well, good evening, everybody. My name is Bill Zam, and welcome to the Friday night version of our interview show. We have a guest tonight, and we have been having problems all over the place. Welcome to live television. Interestingly enough, I have figured out how all this is going to go down here in 2012. I know how it's going to happen. I've done the research and I know exactly what's going to happen. Let's go over the salient points, shall we? October 2011, Holloman Air Force Base. The Air Force has announced that a virus has infiltrated the drone control computers that control all of our Predator drones. December 2011. Somehow a super secret drone gets landed in Iran. January 2012. DARPA announces that they have created a bipedal robot. Remote controlled, to be sure, but it will hunt down other people. It'll hunt down people. It's faster than a human being, and it is armed, made by DARPA. January 2012, some clown in Japan has created a virus that will attack cyber attacks on the internet. And I know how it all ends. December 21st, 2012. Skynet becomes self-aware, and it is Judgment Day on December 21st, 2012. I have a question for these clowns. Do you people ever watch any movies, say like the Terminator movies? You got any idea what in the hell you people are doing? You don't have a clue, do you? Step away from the computers, Einsteins, because you guys are dangerous. So there we go. We now know how it's all going to end. They are actually making themselves the entire Terminator saga coming to life. Our guest tonight is a second-time visitor to the show. Hopefully everything's going to work out tonight. We've had all kinds of problems behind the scenes. This is Robert Evans, and he is coming to us from a location unknown for his own security. Bob, how you doing tonight?
Not too bad there, Bill.
Good. You had me scared for a second.
How's it going on your side?
It's going okay, I guess. I don't even know if we're broadcasting at this point. I don't have a clue.
Well, I can hear your voice, but there's nothing on the website.
Well, Susan says the stream is absolutely perfect and it's got great sound, so that's good. And
okay.
So it's just, yeah, this is turned into a disaster.
Nah.
As usual.
Underneath it, every disaster is a silver lining.
Oh,
we just
good.
got to play with it, that's all.
Good. I'm glad. Bob is with us for the second time tonight. We are going to go We are going to optimistically shoot for a half hour, and hopefully we can actually get a full hour in tonight, depending on how the internet connection goes. We are talking via Skype, and he is on a Wi-Fi network. So hopefully the Wi-Fi network will stay strong and everything will be good. And let me see here. We have, let me get over here and get the computer screen up so that you can all see the notes for the show. And Bob and I were talking, we don't have a clue as to how to start presenting this stuff. Let's go...
Well, start at the beginning.
Okay, we'll start at the beginning. Here's how it goes. What year did this happen with President Eisenhower? Do you know?
1954.
Okay, 1954. President Dwight D. Eisenhower goes on vacation out to the West Coast, mysteriously disappears for one night. Apparently, at that time, he landed at, what was it? What Air Force base was that he landed at, Bob?
Muroc.
Muroc. He landed at Muroc Air Force
down
Base.
Here in California.
In Air Force One, a UFO landed in front of him with another one standing guard above it, and they signed a treaty with the aliens.
No, sorry. That was Holloman Air Force Base in 1955.
Ah.
The first meeting was at Muroc Air Force Base or airfield here in California.
Okay.
And the reason why is because of the interview that Luca Scamberlo did with Project Camelot.
Okay.
He mentioned in there that President Eisenhower personally asked the late Bishop of Los Angeles to be his religious person there at the meeting with him. And they all went over there, and this bishop refused to stay quiet like they asked him to. He told the Vatican everything. And it just kind of took off from there.
Okay. What was the... I'm looking here on the notes that you sent me, and I'm looking here to see what the name of the bishop was.
Let's see. I'm not seeing anything on your site, so I'm just going to listen to you on Skype here.
Okay.
That way I can pull things up. Where's Lucas? You there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. Wasn't sure if you disappeared.
Nope. I haven't disappeared. We'll just keep making noises here so that we know we're each online.
Hey. No problem, yeah. Let's see.
The attendees.
God, I'm trying to find my...
Okay, I have...
here we go. I got him.
Okay.
Luca.
And you can see on this, while Bob is looking for his information, you can see up here on the site, the actually on the stream, the name of this is called The Battle for the Truth. And this shows us some of the events and the people that were in that particular first meeting, apparently. And you can see here, there is a key up here at the top. Credentials confirmed. Infiltrates witnesses is a W. Civil is a C, and unconfirmed is a U. And you can see that we have Don Phillips, which is a witness. William Cooper, witness. Charles Suggs, witness. A USAF colonel, unconfirmed. A Jesuit priest, unconfirmed, and another USAF officer, unconfirmed. Excuse me. And
what they were saying was quite a... Go ahead.
Sorry about that. I believe I need a cough button for the show now. Okay, so... this is kind of which document are you in, Bob?
I'm looking at the Return of Planet X from Luca Scamberlo.
Okay.
The transcript. I'm trying to get the the person's name that Eisenhower asked specifically for there to be as religious advisor to this meeting.
Okay, I'm looking. I'm actually looking through the entire list of people's names, and I'm not seeing anybody identified as being a priest or a Jesuit.
No, he's a.
Ingo Swan. That's who the guy's name is.
He was the bishop. Ah, here we go.
Ingo Swan.
James Francis McIntyre, the former Bishop of Los Angeles, and the Jesuit confirmed to Barbado that this gentleman was present at Muroc Airfield February of 1954 because Dwight Eisenhower wanted to have a spiritual support to take an important decision for mankind.
Okay.
That was, as far as I've been able to find, that was the first of the meetings. The second one was at Holloman Air Force Base in '55, where Air Force One sits down on the field but stays out on the field. Doesn't even try to come, anywhere near the base. Mm-hmm. And then a flying saucer, give or take about 30 foot in diameter, lands right in front of it, while another hovers right above it, kind of like as a guard or blocking tackle or something. A person that looked really close to Eisenhower got out of Air Force One, went over to the saucer, went inside, and they had a nice little chat for about 40 to 45 minutes, and then the saucers left, and Air Force One flew out over the residential areas really super low. Mm-hmm. And this was all contained in a video that Art Cambell and a person named Bill Kirkland did back in 2009. It's on the internet, and I think I gave you a link for it a while back.
I believe
and
so.
And this is where they go into, Bill goes into excellent detail how he was working at the base hospital and all this stuff is happening and people are talking about it, and then he heard others talking about it later. Art Cambell was really nice. We sent him all the information we had, and he offered to try and help out. We were kind of hoping maybe he'd call in tonight, but yeah, and then the idea that there was a kind of a trade of, I think, 12 humans for 12 of these visitors from another planet.
Right. Let me get that up on the stream here, so people. This is from.
For some reason, I cannot see your stream whatsoever.
I'm waiting for the producers to tell me. We're going to make sure that it is in fact streaming, because I don't watch it. I just talk into the microphone, and they tell me if everything's going okay.
Okay, that's cool.
Yep. Serpo.org, SERPO.org, the Zeta Reticuli Exchange Program. The producers are telling me that the stream is A-OK.
Okay, let me check it again. Let's see. I sure hope that Boris is doing okay tonight and listening into us.
Our science producer, Boris Artemenko, he was on
yes,
week before last, and we broke the news about the alien signals that are being picked up, and Boris was attacked very badly today. He is, hopefully he's doing okay. I'm going to try to make contact with him sometime this weekend to see how he's doing. But
Amy is not happy about that one bit.
Yes, Amy is Bob's wife.
Yeah.
And,
Susan told me about it earlier, and when she finally woke up, I told her about it, and she just exploded.
Yes, it's not a nice thing to do. At any rate, we are at the serpo.org, SERPO.org, and we are on their very first document, the very first document release, and I believe this was, I don't even know what date this was. This had to have been 2004, 2005. And it describes the initial contact and exchange program in which 12 humans go to their planet and 12 aliens come here. And it sounds like something from the Twilight Zone. But as everybody knows, on this show we explore all possibilities. And
well, you have to.
Yeah, and if there's a possibility that this is in fact true, then you know, we have a responsibility to release this information. At any rate, according to this anonymous information source here on serpo.org, in 1965 they developed an exchange program with the aliens, and this is the original one of the survivors of the original Roswell crash, and apparently there were two. The second crash was not discovered until 1949. But the first one, there was a survivor, and he was allowed to phone home, as it were. And in 1965, they came here. They collected the remains of their dead comrades, and 12 military personnel, 10 men and 2 women. They were trained, vetted, and removed from the military system, and they were apparently skilled in various specialties. And they went to the alien planet, and 12 of the aliens came here, and they stayed there until 1978. And what I'm wondering, Bob, is do you think there's a possibility that this and the Eisenhower encounter are related?
Yes, very definitely. More than likely, the crash at Roswell, as you were mentioning, this started the whole thing into play when the alien was allowed to phone home, and more than likely, you know, the word got around, and that's why they came back in 1954 for a formal meeting. And according to a couple of other people, we actually had 3 different races come to the Earth and met with different officials or the presidents from anywhere from 1954 up into the 70s.
Yes.
One was a tall, Nordic-like race, really white skin. Another one was kind of reptilic in description. Another one was a short, gray type species, but they had large noses.
Okay.
And this has also been reported by another gentleman named Alex Collier.
Right. I have seen virtually every single one of Alex's videos, interviews, and presentations that he has done. Every single one that's available on the internet. And if you don't know who Alex Collier is, folks, you need to look him up. First name is Alex. Last name is spelled C-O-L-L-I-E-R. Alex Collier. And hopefully he's listening, and he'll call in tonight on the Skype. Our call-in is BillZam1. That's BILLXAM and the number 1. And that is our call-in line. So hopefully he is listening tonight and can provide us with some additional information. One of the documents that I'm looking at here is entitled Former State Legislator Henry W. McElroy testifies that President Eisenhower was briefed on the E.T. presence. And for me, out of all these documents that you sent me, Bob, this one is the appears to be the closest to a smoking gun document.
We thought so too. Yes. It was just something. We were trying to hunt the guy down to contact him, but we couldn't find a contact info for him. So if anyone knows, hopefully they'll pass it along to your show.
Yes.
That will.
His name is right up here on the screen. He was a state rep in New Hampshire.
Yes.
And what year is this document from? Do you know?
This is quite recent. Like just within this year, I guess, because he has a video up on YouTube that, you know, you're physically watching him as he's telling you this stuff.
Really?
It's about 7 to 10 minute video.
Wow.
And he explains how he, you know, in his duties as a state rep, they had to, you know, be briefed on these various documents, and he had no knowledge whether or not Eisenhower had actually met with these different alien races, but he had seen the documents that said that that was going to happen or did happen. And that backs... Sorry.
Let me ask you a question. Why would a state rep in New Hampshire be shown documents from the Eisenhower administration, or was he working in Washington, D.C. at the time or something?
That was the question we were going to present to him if we could have ever gotten a hold of him. You know, to show him what we have, what's on out there on the internet. Maybe he doesn't know about this stuff. Most people don't. And, you know, get him to chat about it, and we'd learn a lot more from him.
That would be good. I would expect, given this document and the video you just described, he's probably had a tragic one-car accident in his garage by now.
God, I hope not. Too many of those people have had that problem.
Yeah, it's seems.
Was the other guy,
happen.
Phil Snyder? That's also really involved. I think he passed away or disappeared. There's just so many names that are associated with disappearances after they start talking.
Let me see here. Reading from this document, it says, this new revelation could result in timely support for the August 2010 election on the Denver ballot initiative to create an extraterrestrial affairs commission. So apparently this is from 2010, so it's only about a year old.
Just last, yeah.
Yeah.
Then there's another gentleman. I'm trying to dig up his name real quick. He has a exopolitics website, and he had the vast majority of the information that we started compiling on this. Talks about where Eisenhower did his farewell address to the nation, and how I guess he was. We haven't had a chance to watch that video. Our web has been going down back and forth the last couple of days. Ike and alien ambassadors, President Eisenhower at Holloman Air Force Base. What did he secretly know? Eisenhower briefing document. There's just so much stuff out there. And then the videos that, like I said, Art Cambell and Bill Kirkland. Art Cambell got a hold of us this morning and said that he tried to get Bill Kirkland to come in on the show tonight, but he was just a little bit too booked up.
Oh, okay.
And he apologized, and hopefully Bill will get a hold of you, or Art will get a hold of you, and, you know, try and get one of these gentlemen on here.
Yeah, this, I mean,
all this stuff is tied together. You know, please excuse my exuberance here.
No,
it is
okay.
all tied together. You've got the Roswell crash you told me about with these Serpco, where they actually survived and called home, and that's what started the ball rolling. Then you had these meetings with Eisenhower and the other presidents with these visitors. You know, and the whole reason Amy and I started to look into this is because we were getting a lot of feedback negative on the internet saying, you know, how can you sit there and say that the Anunnaki are real when aliens are a falsity? And it was like, okay, we're just going to dig this up and we're just going to put it up in, you know, on a screen.
Yeah.
And we walked into a lot more than even, and Amy has a good imagination. Okay, I thought I was bad. She has, you know, we both grew up with the sci-fis back in the 60s and 70s. Okay, too many of them to name, but
okay, hold on one moment. Our producers are sending me a message. Is this Art Cambell? I'm waiting for our producers. We're on about a 10-second delay. I have a phone number here that I believe Art Cambell is standing by right now.
Excellent.
Okay, let me, oh boy. Now, how do you add a landline phone call into a Skype call?
You're the miracle worker. You can do it.
Yeah, sure. Oh boy. Let me see here.
Well, just put me off to one side and put him on.
Let's see. Add to call. We're going to try to add something to the call here. Okay, we want to add a phone number to the call. Contact or phone number. Okay, hold on one moment, folks. We are going to attempt to get Art Cambell on the line.
It's fantastic. Amy's going nuts right now. She has to be. She's listening to us at home, and well, hopefully she is. Like I said, the internet kept bouncing in and out. I had to go up to a well-known coffee shop in the area to use their internet.
Okay, all right. I'm getting. Okay, they also sent him our Skype ID. That would be BILLXAM and the number 1, Bill Zam 1. That is the call-in line. We are going to see if we can get Art Cambell on the line. Hold on, folks. This is what do you call your live television here. Hold on one moment while I attempt to do this. Oh, God, please let this work. Okay, here we go. And, let's see if it works. According to this, it's going to begin dialing at any moment.
Yeah, I see a little screen with a little telephone.
Oh, how do you like that?
No, it's dum-dee-dum.
Hello?
Is this Art Cambell?
Hello?
Hello, Mr. Cambell?
Yes, this is Mr. Cambell.
Yes, this is Bill Zam. We are on the air right now. I have Robert Evans with me.
Okay.
And we are on the air, and we're discussing the big Eisenhower meeting with the aliens in the 1950s. And I understand you have done a lot of research on this.
Just let me change the phone so I can...
Okay.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
All right. Yes, I spent several years on it and wrote some quite a bit of material on it. It didn't publish anything, but quite a bit of research on it.
Okay, we've got we have gotten a hold of several documents that we've been having up on the show here. One is apparently it's quite recent. It's from a fellow by the name of Henry W. McElroy, who was a New Hampshire state representative, and apparently he was shown all of the original documentation about the Eisenhower meetings.
Okay, now I saw that material some time back.
Uh-huh.
I think he dealt primarily with the 54 Muroc claim.
Okay.
And he wasn't working on my 55 one, which was recent in 1956. Are we on now?
Yeah, we are on.
Oh, great. So, but do you want me to go into? I have. Do any of your listeners have computers? I could show them tell them how to get to the material. That I have quite a bit of material, and I can also talk about it.
Yeah, let's hold on a second. We have on the show here. We have we also have a video stream, and I have our web browser up. So if you can give us the web address. Yeah,
the website is www.ufocrashbook.com.
Can you spell that?
UFO Crashbook. UFO CRASHBOOK.com.
There we go. All right. Yep, I have it right here. Art's Next Talk.
Crash and then click on Eisenhower, Corso Eisenhower.
Okay.
And articles will come up that we did for Fowler's Files about 2007. They're still on there.
Okay.
And that may give you some information, but essentially, could I go ahead and explain what happened?
Yeah, please do.
Okay.
I'm exploring your website.
Eisenhower went bird hunting every year for 5 or 6 years in Thomasville, Georgia. And he was staying at a plantation where the press wasn't allowed to go in. By the way, there were several gates. Eisenhower's plane, the old Constellation they called McConaughey's those days, landed at Spence Air Force Base about the 9th of February 1955. He did a very obvious motorcade all the way down through several towns there, including Thomasville, and went to the plantation where he was supposed to stay. And he went hunting that night with several people, and the owner of the plantation was named Humphrey, who was the Secretary of the Treasury at the time. Eisenhower named. He named him later, I'm sorry. And so once he went in that plantation gate, he was out of sight of the press. Well, there was an international incident going on at the time when the Red Chinese were shelling Quemoy and Matsu, 2 islands off of Formosa, with a lot of saber rattling that they were going to invade. And Eisenhower and his Secretary of State, John Foster Dulles, said to the Red Chinese, if you invade, we'll use nuclear weapons on you. Now, this set a big international furor and concern about what might be coming up. So another plane had followed Eisenhower down there with about 30 people in the international press, local international press. So he had them to deal with while he was there. But in any case, Eisenhower, we think, on the morning of the 11th or 12th, I forget which, I think it was 11th of February 1955, we think motored up to Spence and had his plane ready and waiting to go to Holloman Air Force Base, 1,350 miles, southwest say to the west of New Mexico. Holloman Air Force Base is down near Alamogordo. It's about a 5.5-hour trip in the old four-motor Constellation. And the next day, the press wanted to know how the hunt went. They said, well, I got a few birds, but it was raining and cold, and he got the sniffles. And he's going to stay with the fireside with Mamie for a day or so and try to get over them. He and his doctor are working on it. And so while the press were cooling their heels in Thomasville, a little town with only 2 or 3 bars, Eisenhower, we think, was pretty sure he'd gone to Holloman Air Force Base and landed about 9:30 in the morning. We have 2 witnesses, one who saw the plane land. He was on a power pole, but everybody at Holloman knew he was coming. There are about 5,000 civilians there, in addition to 2,000 or 3,000 military people, so they all knew he was coming. In those days, they didn't have the internet or anything like that, so you could keep information in one part of the country for another part, you know. So he landed about 9:30 in the morning, and we heard from a man who originally had been at the Air Force Base as a medic, and he had seen Eisenhower's plane at 5 in the afternoon taking off, apparently going back to Georgia. Well, in the meantime, he ran on to some witnesses. One of the witnesses was an airman that he was his supervisor, who had gone to the commissary that morning and had seen a UFO hovering over the flight line at Holloman.
Wow.
Now, there was a lot of secret stuff going on at Holloman, and it's not that people didn't think much of it. They just weren't, I'm sure, didn't think extraterrestrial here. Meantime, Eisenhower's plane had gone down to the end of the runway, which is about a half mile away from all the buildings and where the people were working and so forth, and shops and so forth, and turned around and come back up a couple hundred yards up the runway, and they'd closed the runways for all incoming traffic for any kind, or traffic going out either. So one of the people from the town, this is third hand now from Bill Kirkland, who was stationed there, but one of the people he was talking to told him that a man with Eisenhower's bearing and walk got out of Air Force One. They had a special ladder there waiting for him, and one of those ramp things that on the pickup truck or something. Got out of Air Force One, way down on the runway, walked about 75 yards to a UFO which had just landed. Went inside, and there was a lot of questions about, well, did he shake hands and what have you? Well, we don't know. The hatch was away from where the people were looking. They were out there looking out there. So anyhow, Bill said he stayed in there 45 minutes. Now, Bill was not an actual witness to this, but he was a witness to the Ike being there, or Ike's plane being there.
Mm-hmm.
So we found then a lady living up in Auburn, Nebraska, whose dad had been an electrician at Holloman. And they'd been told if Eisenhower shows up, business as usual, don't gawk or wave or anything, just go about your business. And they had originally scheduled a parade, which meant there was going to be a red carpet rolled out. He'd be coming out looking at some of the Air Force men at attention. And they canceled that. Well, our friend Bill Kirkland had decided to pass on that parade. He had offered to go. Decided not to. It was a chilly morning, and he wanted to sleep in. So in any case, he didn't get to sleep in. They put him on duty that day, so he had people coming and going at the base hospital, tell you what was happening. So in any case, the one guy came in and said that he'd seen a UFO hanging over the flight line. Apparently that UFO was riding shotgun for the one that was out on the tarmac talking to the president.
How big were
Apparently he was in there for 40 or 45 minutes. Then he left the UFO, went back to his plane. Now he stayed on the base till about 3:30 or 4:30 or 5 o'clock, and spoke 3 times to about 1,800 people. He did not talk about why he was there. He was just giving them a pep talk to keep up the good work. We've got a fine facility here. And they had just done some high-speed sled runs in those days, trying to get people ready. It was sort of a pre-astronaut program, trying to get people ready to go into space. And they were quite in the news. And we think Eisenhower had lunch at the home of the base commander, and may have taken a nap there or something. In any case, he was heard to speak at 2 or 3 facilities. Now, the guy who was in the electrician was on a pole when the plane landed.
Uh-huh.
And they went ahead and did some work, and he was up there finishing up some work about 20 minutes later when he said this was a letter he'd written to his daughter in Auburn, Nebraska, by the way, said that he turned around, the people were shouting and running. Even the truck down below took off. And they were all pointing out towards the runway. Well, coming towards them was about a 30-foot UFO, and they thought that it was remote controlled and was going to go knock over the telephone pole and all that. Well, he said he got down so fast that he only touched his spikes on the pole about 3 times. He was up 40 feet and got up in the air and got running over to a hangar, and they didn't know what it was. Well, he explained this in a letter to his daughter and her family in 1989, I think. And it was holiday coming up. It was in November. They were talking about Thanksgiving and Halloween and what have you, and had a very nice letter from her father, who was writing this family experience down. Mm-hmm. Anyhow, they called it the day Dad became a fireman, because he got down the pole so fast. And so, meantime, up at the mess hall, a plane had come in early that morning from a Air Force base in Indiana, and the name escaped me right now. and a gentleman there named Wyckoff, who was a sergeant, the loadmaster, had brought some freight into Holloman. They had gone around hauling freight all over the country, and Holloman was on their list that day. Well, they couldn't. He went down to take off that morning, and of course Eisenhower was coming in. They had closed the runway. So the people at the control center said, well, you just had to go play pool or something because you can't leave here until the president leaves. So he was up at the mess hall, and a major or someone came in and asked the people at the table if they wanted to hear Ike speak. He had trouble getting in because he didn't have a Holloman pass. But somebody interceded, and he and several of his friends got to hear Eisenhower speak. And that's how we know he was there, and that he was had spoken to I think at the base theater, and also somewhere at a hangar near somewhere near the mess hall. And essentially that's it. Except the return was very interesting. Another 5-hour trip back, and of course he could sneak in and out the side gates of this plantation. And someone, the Secretary Humphreys, Secretary to be Humphreys, I guess, had decided to throw a big party for all the press in the area. Well, that would pretty well take care of the press, getting them, and it was at the Glen Averin Country Club in Thomasville, Georgia. So all the press who were really bored, and there's 30 of them now cooling their heels at the Scott Hotel in Thomasville, and they're pretty bored after 3 days. 2 days it was, Eisenhower was getting sniffles cured, and that was what they thought. And they decided to have a party, and by the way, it was right in full swing at the time Eisenhower stepped back in, 20 miles above Thomasville, motored down quickly to the plantation, went back in, and he came out the next morning and had a kind of a sleepy look on his face, and some of the reporters have said that he looked like he'd tied one on last night. Well, he'd been up for a long time apparently. But the reporters, somebody pointed out, the reporters were mostly had mostly Bloody Marys for breakfast, trying to cure their hangovers. And it was a very interesting thing. I went down there to try to get the people to talk about it, and they weren't talking. I didn't mention the UFO or anything, but I had difficulty getting people at Thomasville to say anything. But the upstart of the whole story is they had all these reporters, all of them male. They said, well, we'll invite a few ladies from the area who have been members of the country club, who are also divorced. Your listeners can try to get the picture here. Well, it turns out that every divorcee in town showed up at this party. And I guess the reporters had a real good time. I talked to one of the entertainers there. He said, yeah, I said, those guys are paired up, but I don't know if they disappeared. We don't know where they're going. But in any case, they all met with Eisenhower the next day, and he said he was back, but he was a little tired, had to go back and do some resting. And the day after that, he left to Washington, D.C., went back. But that's basically the story.
So what we have here is we have hot chicks and flying saucers is what you're saying.
Well, I don't know how hot they were, but the hot flying saucers, the chicks would be more like it, I think.
Okay.
Sounds like something from Meatloaf.
It does. Do you know how the size of these UFOs, these we'll just call them space vehicles?
Right. They were just pretty much called the Bob Lazar sport model. People around the UFOs know that it's kind of a very streamlined-looking disc, and it's not the old Adamski thing with the 3 ping pong balls at the bottom, but these later ones were quite streamlined. I think 24, 25 feet in diameter.
Okay.
More than like shuttlecraft.
Yeah, it was probably a mothership involved here. Yeah, this would be a shuttlecraft, sure.
Yeah, I'm just wondering how big they were, because Eisenhower went on board and he was there for 45 minutes. They must have been the things must be of a relatively good size to be able to fit a human being in.
Well, 8 or 10 feet thick through the middle, I understand. The bottom half, bottom 4 feet, is a power plant.
Okay.
And we've done some research recently and found part of the power plant, by the way, on a archaeological dig down in the plains of San Augustine, another project I'm working on.
Oh.
And so they would have only had about at most 5 or 6 feet in the pilot's compartment, but I think I don't think Eisenhower was a 6-foot person, so it would be pretty close. But I'm sure there was room for him in there if he did go in. But you know, that's all kind of third hand. But they were trying to keep it on a hush hush, and Kirkland wrote a letter in 1994 or 5 to some UFO people, and I got a hold of it and contacted him. By the way, he's in the Kansas City area, Kansas City, Missouri. I used to live back there.
Okay, cool.
We started a NICAP affiliate there in ¡57.
Okay. So
well, that's basically the story, and I tend to put some credence in it because he disappeared for something like 36 hours.
Yeah.
And I don't think he's playing Scrabble. You know, one of the world's great leaders who plays Scrabble with the Red Chinese shelling the Quemoy Matsu. So it was a big, close to nuclear war as we had gotten to that point in '55.
Right.
Of course, 9 years later, we had the thing with Cuba.
Right.
That was a little closer. But they say that the whole world got kind of upset that Dulles and Eisenhower threatened to use nuclear bombs. I think they were alluding to shells rather than bombs, nuclear materials if the Red Chinese invaded Formosa. So today we know it as Taiwan.
Right.
And it's been quite the trading partner we've had for many, many years.
So go ahead. Go ahead, Bob.
The Gerald Light Hour for the '54 meeting?
Well, I wasn't at all privy to any research in the ¡54 meeting.
Okay.
And I remember the Gerald Light letter, and he talks about a Cardinal, I believe McIntyre, the L.A. area.
Yes.
Maybe is that correct? And had gone out with to Iraq to see the. I'm not sure that there were live aliens signing any treaties. I have a feeling that our people aren't that dumb, and they might go out to meet them. I had a distinct feeling in my research that we were looking at bodies out there, and they were the first time that bodies had been displayed that hadn't been autopsied like they had in '47. So I had a feeling there were bodies that they were viewing out there. There may have been a live one. I don't think they were in any condition to go for the treaty. But the Vatican thing really is an interesting point here because I have a feeling that what Eisenhower was doing was meeting somebody, and he's the kind of guy that would have said, "Well, I want to see who we're talking with here." You know, he'd be forceful enough to, and so it's possible the Vatican set up a meeting. Who knows? But if they'd been in contact with the Vatican, yeah.
Sorry, didn't mean to step on you. This all came to light with the 2008 interview that Project Camelot did with the Italian reporter Luca Scantamburlo. He mentioned there that this Bishop McIntyre was invited there personally by Eisenhower to be at this meeting with these aliens, and afterwards the bishop went back to the Vatican and told the Pope the entire story, and the Vatican's been in contact with them ever since, according to the high-ranking Jesuit leader that told the story. And
I don't doubt that. I as a matter of fact, they're the one international church organization that has come out and supported the contention that there's alien life, and they have even, the Pope was even said that God made everything in the universe, so the aliens must be like us. At least,
yes, I remember that a couple of years ago. Yes.
Yeah, the Vatican astronomer.
Yeah, right. It came through the astronomer Funes. I think his name is. Worked with the Vatican. Vatican has a observatory. Sometimes we're south and east of Phoenix, Arizona.
Yes, up on a mountaintop.
Yes, right. And so, it would make sense that instead of going to a warring government, to go to a peaceful organization, if you're going to make contact with, and the organization that is in contact with millions and millions of people, it would make sense to go to the Vatican.
According to some of the stuff that Amy and I read, the Vatican held meetings with these visitors several times in the gardens around the Vatican. So they have remained in contact with, if these reports are true, and everything seems to be pointing in that direction. Lucas said that he was told that the Vatican knows that Nibiru is on its way, and the Anunnaki are still alive on Nibiru, and that the Anunnaki are a warrior race.
Well, I have news for the listeners. So are we.
True.
This is true.
Very true.
We have had something like 50 years of peace in the last 140 years. There's been a war somewhere. So
I don't know if anybody's
people
noticed
really
it, but we're a
scrutinizing our
warrior race.
planet, we're not going to seem all that peaceful. That's why it would even make more sense to go to the Vatican if you had a message.
True, yeah. The idea of us being quarantined for years has been a joke between me and my wife for years. The old movie, The Day the Earth Stood Still, the one, Clot 2 at the end, warns the scientists that, if we threaten to extend our violence, they'll come back and reduce the Earth to a burned-out cinder. Kind of makes you wonder.
Well, there's some people saying it's going to happen before next Christmas, and
God, I hope not.
I think but the people who are coming up with this Aztec calendar and so forth and so on, I'm not necessarily a disbeliever, but I'm I'm really from Missouri, so you got to show me a little bit.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And I think it's makes great talk, great writing, and you got a lot of people who will be reading about it. I don't think it's going to go any further than that. Frankly.
I don't really think it has really much to do with the Aztec calendar, because in the research that we've been doing for the last 5 years, give or take, and I know we sent you some of that stuff, there are separate organizations that know that this thing is coming, okay, and there's no way they can all be working together. So you've got bits and pieces coming out, you've got scientists leaking information, you've got NASA with leaks all over the place, with images showing something that they saw back in 1983 and then imaged back in 2007, 2008, and all the preparation for putting things underground all around the planet is just, it's a follow the dot type picture. You've got the Doomsday Seed Vault, and the only reason the people knew about that is because the who's who of the world's billionaires that paid for it. Bill Gates, Rockefellers, and God knows who else. You've got the British government digging into a huge salt mine underneath somewhere, and they're putting all of their books in there. And they say they're going to be in storage until 2013. And then they're going to finish the library. They're putting them all in.
Bob and Art, I have a question for both of you. I guess Art first, with what Bob is talking about and the Eisenhower meeting. Do you think there's any connection between the two?
The two meetings?
The two meetings and what Bob's talking about. Do you think this
Nibiru,
these aliens are I mean, where do they come from is what I guess what I'm trying to get at.
Well, may I go ahead, Bob?
Well, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Art.
Yeah, we're one of thousands of possibly millions of life-sustaining planets in the universe. And I can't believe that we are singled out for all of this special treatment, going to have all this, the world's coming to an end, and I think we're probably somewhere in the norm of planets who are with populations our age. We've had people 3, 4 million, almost 5 million years. We've had people walking upright, and I just I'm long in years. I'm going to be 80 next year. Oh, I have seen a lot of this. Well, wait till they get to land on the moon, then we'll know all about UFOs. Well, that came and went. Well, you just got to, so wait till this happens. So I can recalling back in the 1830s, a fellow named Miller said the world's coming to an end, and he had a lot of followers who gave him the money and everything, and they went to the mountaintop and get ready to be taken, and it didn't happen. And that's formed a very well-known church today. I won't go into the details, but I think this is sort of a projection, a dramatic projection of what's going to happen in the future, and you can certainly get a lot of people to read about it. I'm not saying the world won't come to an end, but I have a feeling that it's not going to be soon.
Okay.
Well, there's a friend of ours, Ken Johnston. He used to work for NASA, and he recently did an interview on another radio station. I'm not sure if I should mention the name, but he was responsible for a lot of the images from the moon during the Apollo program, and he recently came out that there are bases on the moon, and that I think the 17th Apollo program, they were warned by a communication from one of these bases in English, I guess, not to return to the moon. So, yeah, the plot...
Well, that worked out real good with our budget cuts, because we had Apollo 18 scheduled that was canceled. So I'm sure some people in Washington were happy about that one. But I'm fairly good terms with Ed Mitchell, the astronaut in Apollo 14.
Okay.
And he said at a private meeting one time that when at one of the Apollo missions, he didn't say it was his own. He said they were lined up along the edge of a crater a few miles away, just watching what was going to happen. Several UFOs were there, and I think that they followed our space thing very, very, very closely, and it's very interesting to note they haven't interfered with us, and I'm not sure that they're wanting us not to go back. It's our moon, not theirs. So I have a feeling as long as we're peaceful and don't try to spread anything nuclear up there, that it probably wouldn't be that much objection. But at the time when Apollo 18 landed, Apollo 17 stopped, Apollo 16 in that era, we had quite a bit of nuclear stuff still going on, and but that has pretty well abated now. As a matter of fact, Eisenhower went in the July of 1955 to the first summit that ended up being the early SALT Treaty and a Strategic Arms Limitation Treaty. And he was there in July at Geneva of 1955 and had a serious heart attack in September of that same year. And they thought he wasn't going to run again, but he decided he would. So he became president for 2 terms. But I think that my take is, at least till now, is that they were very interested in our nuclear testing, and that there may have been some gloves thrown down and some warnings to stop. And we didn't really stop it till the fall of Russia in 1989-90.
Mm-hmm.
So the race kind of stopped at that point. I guess the cooler heads prevailed.
Art.
I always thought that there was more concern about nuclear testing than anything else, and I think that we may have gotten early treaty out of the deal with Russia to look at the things, and it took many years for it to bear fruit, but apparently it did.
So you think
Art.
the Russians knew about this?
The Russians know about UFOs?
Yeah. I mean, do you know? Do you think they?
They've had as many crashes as we've had. Almost all countries have had some kind of a crash, and some have come out and told their people. France has. England is doing it. Brazil did it years ago.
Mm-hmm.
New Zealand.
Yeah,
New Zealand, right? Yeah. So
now, what do you? I've got two questions. The Apollo 17, and you said Ed Mitchell said that they were warned in English not to come back and whatnot. Right now, we have 2 nuclear-powered satellites orbiting the moon. NASA does. I'm wondering, do you think these aliens, they've left the moon, or do you think they're tolerating it? Do you think we have a new agreement with them, or what?
Well, the other gentleman might want to react to that. I haven't got a formed my thoughts yet.
Okay, Bob, you go ahead.
To try and even come close to answering that, let me go backwards in time a little bit. The ancient book of Enki talks about that the moon has bases inside of it, that the gods would come up from the earth with the gold, and that they had bases in the moon, and they were using that as a stepping point to go to Nibiru. And if you also read in there that they left behind a huge amount of watchers in the sky to watch over us. Okay, so that kind of fits in with the idea that maybe there are bases in there. And I know that we sent Art, and you've also gotten them, Bill, those pictures, and quite recent ones of those large, outstretched wing-looking UFOs, starships. They're coming into the system for...
Yeah, Amy sent me that material.
Yes, they're coming into the system for a reason. Okay, wherever they're coming from, you know, they're not just dropping by to throw stones into a wishing well. They're coming either to the Earth, to the Moon, or to possibly the bases on Mars that the Book of Enki also spoke about.
Well, Ed Mitchell told me that he thought that they were... I was at a conference one time, it was Gaithersburg, Maryland in '08, and Ed was featured there, and a bunch of us were talking after after the sessions, and he said as far as they knew, there were 7 different alien races from 7 different places have made contact with Earth peoples.
Okay.
And he didn't have any more information. He thought there were 6 or 7 of them at least. They all have different agendas. They wouldn't all be on the same page. So I think we have those that want to do abductions, those that are friendly and want us to be good. They might have seeded us, years ago. My guess is the agenda is all over the place for whichever group is looking us over. I think we have resources that they could use, and they can mine in the bottom of the ocean, uninhibited. So I think possibly we have, as a young planet in their eyes, probably some resources that would be of interest. But that's just speculation.
That's backed up by the Gerald Light letter, where he mentions in here that there were 5 different craft at the 1954 meeting. So that was more than just one race. So
Well,
you've also
Gordon Cooper, that would be more than one. Now, of course, we could have two come in for each one. They each have a spare craft. But Gordon Cooper said that he was in charge of a film of a crew working, extending a runway on. He was an astronaut. He was a pre-astronaut in those days. Later became an astronaut, and that the one a UFO landed for a few minutes at right near a crew that had a camera. And my guess is, when they filmed it, my guess was Edwards Air Force Base in those days, known Iraq. And my guess is that somebody said, "Okay, you're up there. Show us. Show us you can do this." You know, kind of some more guys from Missouri, I guess. Mm-hmm. And show us. We want to see some color here. You know, so. Well, why would a construction crew have a camera all set up, you know? Now, Cooper wasn't there, but he was in charge of some aspects of it, and my guess is that was, I think, 54, prior to that meeting.
Yes.
That happened. No, maybe in 52, maybe earlier. So I think that they were trying to show that they were real and what they could do, and we allowed them to come down and get us a site and get some good film with their craft. And that would make sense if they were going to come back and want to talk to us seriously at some future date.
Okay. Here's a direct quote from Gerald Light's letter. He says, "During my 2 days visit, I saw 5 separate and distinct types of craft being studied and handled by our Air Force officials with the assistance and permission of the Etherians." He says, "I have no words to express my reactions. It has finally happened. It is now a matter of history."
Closed history.
Yeah.
History for somebody. It hasn't. We don't know about it yet officially, so I don't know. I remember the Gerald Light letter, and I did some research trying to find him, and there was one interesting thing that I found about. He had apparently was in a metaphysical community in the Los Angeles area. Was well known in the metaphysical community, and I don't know what he did or what he believed or anything, because I think he passed away within 10 years of that of 54 or so. But he said to all the important people in the including Cardinal McIntyre and so forth and so forth. I had a feeling Light had delusions of grandeur about how important he was, and it's just my impression. And people weren't into metaphysics in those days, and it was something you kind of hid, like an insane relative or
the crazy cousin
of a child or something. And now it's a little more out there, but I don't think that the metaphysical community would be really a very important group that needed to meet aliens coming in for the first time. I wouldn't say they wouldn't include them later, but I don't think they were high on the priority list. It's not near as high as Cardinal McIntyre was.
Do you think we still have other races besides Earth races living on our planet? Several groups have alluded to this, that we've researched, that they are still living here, and they've been trying to force the Earth leaders into official first contact.
Bob, go ahead.
I'm not sure if we've lost Bob or not, Art.
No,
okay.
I'm here.
Okay.
All right, yeah. If you got to take a shot on that one, I'm still forming my thoughts again.
Well, while you're doing that, what I'll do is I will once again up here on the screen, I will bring up the website that we were looking at earlier over at serpo.org, and this details an exchange program of humans and aliens that we had with these beings. that took place in the 50s, 60s, and I believe ended in 1978, according to this document. And apparently 12 humans, 12 military people, went to their planet, and 12 of the aliens came here under the exchange program. And Bob and I were wondering earlier if this this all might tie together somehow.
I'm aware of the Serpo program, and at one time I had the very thin negative, a very thin outline of it in a book I was writing on some research down there in New Mexico, and I ended up taking it out. I can't find any evidence of it, and it makes a great story. And for a while there, I thought there might be something to it, but they haven't produced any evidence that other than verbal thoughts and experiences. And I am not taking Serpo seriously.
Okay.
That's exactly where I'm coming from on that.
Okay, that's fair enough.
It's understandable.
Yeah, I mean, all you really have is some anonymous person putting this out there. I mean, it's a good...
There's most of 95% of what you have in UFOs is some anonymous person putting something out there. They're quite busy.
Yeah.
There's some really good websites. I subscribe to Fowler's Files. He's well known in the East.
Yes.
By the way, I'm in Oregon.
Yes,
and
I have that too. I subscribe to that too. That's an excellent...
There's some good stuff there.
Yeah. That's
good stuff.
We also get his emails too.
Yeah, Filer's Files, folks.
Yes.
F-I-L-E-R-S Files. You want to do a Google search for that if you want to subscribe to his newsletter.
He's probably the best one on TV, on the internet for factual material, and he always punctuates his stories with new UFO sighting photos.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And so it's quite interesting. Quite a good website.
Yeah, he's related with MUFON, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, I think he's in charge of Eastern MUFON. Yes.
Yeah. So it's pretty good information that he has going on there.
I just want to throw in that the Star Viewer blogs, and these have been going since 2009, mid 2009. They've had numerous references in there that aliens were living here, and they were walking and living amongst us, and that there was supposed to have been an alien ambassador before President Obama came to office. And that he was putting it off, and suddenly we get the thing, about a year or so ago, where the United Nations was going to set one up or something?
Yeah, their little ambassadorship program. But I'm wondering what that, how that's going to relate, what's going to happen with the Vatican program, because if the Vatican is in fact in contact with these aliens and has a fairly good diplomatic rapport with them, what would the UN have to contribute?
I can just tell you what we've read and what we've seen.
Yeah,
and this between what Lucas said, what Art has said, what the video showed that Bill Kirkland said, this other gentleman, Alex Collier, has been talking about for quite some time, has been threatened. According to the friend that we got a hold of, he's living in some kind of a motorhome because they've actually made death threats against him.
That would surprise
this one
me
guy
would
not tell me how to get hold of him, but he passed on the information that I sent to him to Alex. So he also has your contact number here too.
Okay, good.
Ed Mitchell told us, the astronaut over the Apollo 14. He said at one time there were people's lives were in jeopardy if they brought out much of this information, particularly anything in the factual area. And somebody in the group said, "Well, what do you mean one time?" Well, they said they don't seem to care right now. and so I don't know who they are. That's always interesting. Is when they talk about government or what?
The powers that be.
Yeah, powers that be. Yeah, that's a big they, all right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know who they are, but they are the powers that be.
They did a number on Boris's computer the other day, since Boris was working with some other people about these signals that they had been receiving from space.
Yes.
And they attacked his computer once, about 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And they completely fried it last night, from what I'm told.
Yeah. Art probably doesn't know this, but Boris is our science producer, and he's working with a team of scientists that have received
my wife's really good friend with our group.
Yep. And he's the group of scientists that he's working with, Art, has received a series of signals coming from a little bit less than 1 astronomical unit away from the Earth. And we played those on the air, and there's people analyzing them, and he was attacked while we were on the air, and he was attacked again last night, and a lot of his computer files were destroyed in the attacks.
Wow.
Yeah.
Sounds like he's really in danger.
We're worried for his safety, and we hope he's listening, and everything is going as well as can be expected at this point. It's not
Bill,
not a good
and
scene.
Art,
Yes.
1 AU is putting that thing real close to the sun, where these signals are coming from.
Right.
Okay, and there has been something up there near the sun that shows up every once in a great while. NASA's been trying to erase the pictures from their stereo behind and other ones since at least January last year.
It's actually coming from the opposite direction, Bob.
Yeah, there's something up there.
Right. It's essentially between somewhere around between Jupiter and Saturn, I think.
No. This is out between Mercury and the sun.
Right. That's a different source altogether. The ones where they've been picking up the signals are farther out into the solar system.
What form are the signals in?
They're actual audio signals. They're vocalizations.
What language are they speaking?
Well, they're aliens, so we don't know that. They're it's not in any language that anybody is able to decipher.
Okay. So it may not be beamed to us. We're just picking it up. So
right. The thought is at this point is that it's probably short-range communications, and we're picking up the bleed-through.
Well, one of the things that I've been around a few years, and I'm not gullible, but I'm also somewhat pragmatic. So I took kind of the easy. I was on George Norrie's show a while back, and he said, well, what are you trying to do with your research? Well, I started in the late 50s, and took time out for teaching from 1959 to 89, and came back into it about 89 when I retired, so about 30 years ago. So one of the questions I've always asked myself, and the listeners may want to use this formula too, if we are one of many planets where life, where intelligent life is, or it might be, we could be one of thousands, we could be one of millions. I understand there is as many planets out there that could sustain life as there are grains of sand on all the beaches on Earth. So to think we're so special and all the stuff's going to happen to us and to our people, and our people are getting messages, and so forth and so on, would mean it'd have to happen to all the other planets. If I'm assuming Earth is typical of what civilizations would be at our stage in development. So the question I've always asked, well, okay, so we have some information. Is this happening anywhere else? other planets except the, do they have an Anunnaki? Do they have a Mayan culture? And all these things, Aztecs culture, and I keep coming up with the fact that I don't think we've been singled out at all. I think if it's happening, it must have happened to all planets who had life on them. And it does broaden your thinking a little.
Well,
how possible is it here to have only this stuff happening here if there are millions of planets out there who possibly have human life on them?
If this happens to, if I'm following what you're saying, if we assume that we're not special and this happens to other civilizations at our particular stage of development, that would mean that there would be, I guess you would call it a caretaker type of civilization that guides the civilizations that are on the same path that we are. Do you think?
Well, it's quite possible, but we haven't done all that good a job at caretaking ourselves. Look at what we did to the Indians and some of the races we decimated around the world with our manifest destiny, and white man is supreme, and the colonization and things. So we haven't taken good care of our own. I hope somebody out there's got looking out for us. We haven't done very good here for ourselves. But I expand it out there and think, well, is this going on in all the other places? And then you've got the five or six major religions who are all seeing this differently. And all people will have great leaders. They emerge, and I think it's a very natural process. And those great leaders are religious, and I think we're going through a fairly natural process if you step back and look at it. I don't know that we're singled out for any special treatment, but it just seems to me like we're one of many, and I have a hard time wrapping my mind around all the things people say are happening here, and that we're going to be taken over, and we're going to be destroyed, and we're going to be a cinder, and et cetera, et cetera. And it's possible, but I like to think that there's a lot looking into UFOs for all these years. I've gotten quite a bit of peace of mind from knowing that whatever everybody says is not necessarily going to happen in any phase of life, so it's given me a great deal of tolerance towards other people, other religions, other faiths, and things like that, to sit back and kind of look at what might be happening in other places. I'm sure it's happening in other places, and there are no doubt other places out there that have intelligent life, but I'm not sure they'll manifest themselves in our lifetime, because mine's probably shorter than most of your listeners. So,
you never know.
It's an interesting thought, though. Is it happening here? Is it happening everywhere else? So that's kind of where I kind of ended up coming from.
It's kind of a interesting thought that there's thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands of other civilizations out there that are seeing UFOs in their skies. And
or they have landed, or they're just becoming. Of course, we have, all of our people are not our civilization. We still have people in the Stone Age here.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So it's not that all planets are going to have all little grays running around, and they're all going to be together, the same religion, have the same philosophy. I have a feeling that all the planets out there that are capable of sustaining life are going to have life in various forms.
Kind of like Star Trek with their Prime Directive, where they sit back and watch.
Yeah.
That is an interesting thought there.
Yeah.
That's an interesting line of thought that you can go on for hours and hours about maybe these aliens have a non-interference type of a clause, and there's other.
It would seem to me that would be the best benevolent policy is not to interfere. with what's going on unless it threatens maybe the planet itself, like our nuclear testing, or it threatens possibly others in the solar system or universe. But I think they would tend to let us be, because there have been things happened that in the early days of UFOs where abductees were had all kinds of things happen to them, mutilation, what have you, and that could probably be somebody who had was scared and had some access to grind or what have you. But I tend to think that as a policy, and I don't know if they have a galactic federation and this stuff out of Star Wars, we don't know if they're all together.
Right.
And
I just want to try and interject real quick while my mind's still on it. One of the papers, I'm going to try and see if we can send it to you, Art and Bill,
okay,
stated something to the effect of that Eisenhower met with one group of aliens and they wanted some kind of a treaty with the Earth. Evidently, at first, Eisenhower or his representatives wanted a transfer of technology from these other beings, evidently weapon technology, and they refused. And there was some fear, some great fear that the Russians would have found out about this meeting. And that supposedly later on, according to Alex Collier, the aliens broke the treaty with the Earth. And that's why I was trying to get a hold of him to get a little more information on that. Sorry, I didn't mean to step on you there, Art. I'm
very interested in all this, I have my hands
Amy just sent off the link from Bill's show with Boris Artemenko talking about the signals to your email.
Okay.
Okay, good.
So
that should be in your email box pretty soon.
What form are the signals in? Are they coming through radio waves? Other forms?
I believe so. Yes, they are radio waves. I'm not sure what frequencies they are. The group of scientists that we're working with, they don't want to be known publicly. I'll put it to you that way. They're fearful for their lives, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, Boris isn't here, so I can't give you a definitive answer on that. He's the one that is working with them, but I promised all of them that I wouldn't give out their names or anything specific where somebody would be able to track them down. But I
That's
believe
an excellent idea.
Yes, I believe it is standard radio waves, and I'm trying to remember.
SOP.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember the exact frequency, and I simply cannot remember it. To be honest with you, I apologize for that.
Well, we've had radio since waves have been sent out since Tesla and Marconi in turn of the century, maybe 1880, 1890 or so, and we'd have to have a window of another planet that was also using radio to communicate. And my understanding that most of the alien craft that we have seen are far beyond the radio communications.
One would think
they're using other forms of communication. Let me give an example. We were working on a plane to San Augustine and run onto a big motherload of UFO wreckage that the Army missed, believe it or not. And we think that the craft went down in 2nd of July 1947. That was 5 days before the Roswell one was reported. So this may have been the first UFO crash, at least after the war. And they didn't do a great job cleaning it up because it was in a kind of remote place. And I think they figured, well, who would ever come out here? Well, some of us did. In any case, we found foil like you would have aluminum foil, very similar, had it analyzed, and it turns out the isotopes indicate it was not made on Earth. The isotopes we had checked out was every planet has an isotope signature of certain types of heat and metal and what have you going on, and no two could be the same because no two planets are identical. So they know from the isotopes in the metal that it would either have an Earth signature or doesn't, and this doesn't. Well, the interesting thing, though, is not that, but that each of these pieces of foil that were like shingles, they were crumpled up, by the way. It was being in an arroyo where there's a lot of water coming and going over the years, had up to 58 different elements on each on one side of each piece. We found 6 or 7 pieces. All were different. All had different elements in one side of the coating on one side of the foil. And we're trying to speculate as to, could this be some kind of a coded thing in the craft where certain people could communicate, or certain beings could communicate out, or something that would be far advanced to radio. But we haven't figured out yet why those coatings are on there, why the coatings are there, why all the elements are there. But gosh, it's just boggles the mind to find these pieces of foil that look like shingles. At one time, they were the size of an old-fashioned shingle, and each side has a huge amount of elements on it, each one different. It wasn't like they were all the same.
Wow.
So it would mean each one had a different purpose. And probably the same type of thing, but different. So we don't know whether. And then we find out that through the Dr. Roger Lear, who's done some alien implant research, most of your listeners have probably heard of him, that the implants that some people are having taken out of them by this group, is actually taken out 17 at this point, are coated with some of the same elements. So we think some kind of communication going on here. We're just not sure what. That there's coating of elements on all the implants that are taken out. And we're in contact with a scientist who does his research. And so all those little pieces of rice and tiny little things were taken out of people that show up on X-rays are coated with not only membranes, but which is similar membranes, so that the body accepts it, little wrapped packages, so to speak, with body membranes. They get it from the same body, and they're implanting it in. And we just are baffled as to why all these would be different. But we're getting some information out sometime next year. We'll be announcing it next year, what we found.
I have gotten a message from our science producer, Boris, and he's got the frequencies that they're receiving the signals on. The frequencies are from 14.104 to 14.296 megahertz.
Excellent.
Could that be picked up on the average shortwave radio?
I don't think so. I believe they're using their radio telescopes. They're fairly faint signals. I've actually got. I think I actually have. I might have the audio files queued up if you guys want to hear it. I don't know how well it'll come over your phone, Art. But
yeah, I'm all ears.
Okay, I can play it. Let me see here. I've got one here. This one is 15 seconds long. This is without any type of cleaning up at all. This is with all of the solar static and everything. Hold on 1 second here. It's 19 seconds long. Here it comes. That's real hard to hear anything in the background, I imagine, especially over the phone. But here's the, with all the static taken out of it. Hold on 1 second here. And that's what it sounds like with all the static taken out. It,
well, with all that static out there, it sounds like a very squeaky voice.
Yeah.
I wonder if the vocal cords would be a smaller being or something that would not have our vocal cords. It must be something entirely different than we are.
Yeah, if you slow it down, I've got some examples of it slowed down, and
those were really good.
You can really hear well, you call it squeaking. It almost sounds like some type of electronic tones mixed in with it. Let me hold on a second. Let me see if I.
Yeah, it could be. Yes.
Let me see if I can pull that up. Hold on. Okay, I think this is going to be slowed down so you can hear it. Hear it better. Here it comes. That was slowed down by 20%, so you can really get a little bit a better idea of the, I guess, audio, the tonal qualities of whatever the heck this signal is. Whether it's I don't know if it's voices mixed in with some electronic tonnage, or if that's their actual voices or not.
Well, it dawned on me that if they had a choir, there wouldn't be anybody singing bass. That's for sure.
No, they are quite squeaky, and believe me, I brought up the bass on that a lot just to be able to get
yeah, right,
lower it down. Otherwise, it would blow your eardrums out. Because those guys got some squeaky voices, that's for sure. Maybe they're all sucking on helium up there.
Who knows? There's strange things out there, that's for sure.
Yeah, but at any rate, these are. They're pulling these things in from 3 distinct points by up around by where the Big Dipper is, and I can't remember the exact name of the star where they're pulling.
Wasn't it somewhere near Leo?
I'm not sure if it's from Leo or not.
I've forgotten now myself.
Yeah, hold on a second. Let me see if I can. Oh shoot! Hold on a second. Let me see if I can actually pull up the images, because I wasn't expecting to do this tonight. But
that's all right.
Since we're on the subject, I might as well, and we have a few minutes here. Let me see.
Sure.
There we go.
Art should have the link to the entire show on his email by now.
Yeah, I would think so.
Okay, I haven't got my email on, by the way. I better get it on here.
Let me see here. Where is the? There it is, I think. We'll go ahead and take a look at it. It is. The audience can see the star map once again up on the screen. It is. Oh, let me see. It's. I'll be darned if I can remember the name of the star. It's one of the ones in the Big Dipper, I'll tell you that much.
Well, it's the North Star. It's the only one I know.
No, it's not the North Star. Let me appeal to Boris and see if he...
Yeah, it just came up on my website.
Okay, good. We've had nothing but problems with our email and Wi-Fi stuff the last week or so.
Yeah. Yeah, the internet has been problematic at best the past couple of weeks. Well, there you go. He's actually playing it on, you can hear the show playing over the phone. That's
there you go.
We're having a double show tonight.
Art, is there any chance that Bill Kirkland might be willing to talk about this also?
Yeah, he was tied up this evening, and I can I could get him. I'll give him your email and let him get a hold of you. He and I did a lot of radio in the from 08 to 9, and I even have him answering some questions that I would mail to the interviewer, and then he could be essentially talking to him. So if he doesn't come on, I could send you that material, and it's essentially a good 40 minutes of what I was telling you earlier.
That's good. It appears that we've lost Bob off of our internet call. The program is attempting to get him back, but I'm trying to think of any other intelligent questions that we have for you about this this story from the 1950s with Eisenhower. Are they still? Do we know are they still in contact with the United States government at any rate?
I don't know. First of all, we have speculation that he went on board, and so we certainly aren't privy to what who they might be, have said or communicated to President Eisenhower. I have a feeling it was just a moment in history. And if we're looking at 7 or 8 alien races, which that's just a guess that the astronaut made. We don't know whether that doesn't change periodically. There may be several races where we were in charge, we were in contact with in 1955, and then we ceased to be in contact with them. Probably we ran out of things in common, and we may have picked up several others. So that's my take on it. Apparently, it's all behind the scenes, but it does make sense that they would pick the Vatican over somebody who was militarily inclined like we were. Whether we were defending ourselves or not, we're still classed as a warring power. And
okay, I'm communicating with our with the show staff here. We have okay. Boris says the signals are coming from UMA. Let's see. It's he says the source is at the tip of where the small dipper points at Polaris, the North Star. So it's in that particular area. It's in the northern hemisphere. We know that, and it's I guess it sounds like it's about 40 degrees from the horizon. 40 degrees up from the horizon, and if I recall from my conversation with Boris, they're going to be somewhere in the neighborhood of Jupiter, Saturn, right around in there, about less than an astronomical unit away.
One of the things that, go back to the Eisenhower thing, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
I didn't tell you, was that we tried to contact the Eisenhower library, and matter of fact, Bill Kirkland and I did a tape on the lawn where I was interviewing him in 06, I believe it was, and they did send us the complete flight information of that Air Force One for that trip to Thomasville. Now, naturally, there would not be a side trip on there to Holloman, but from that roster, I was able to get the name of the crew, and we found one of them still alive in Eugene, Oregon, who was in a nursing home, but he still talked. And he said that on that trip, he didn't go on it, but his friend named Borrego did. All these are master sergeants, very, very, very sharp people. And he said that there were 13 Secret Service men showed up came in on Eisenhower's plane.
Right.
And I said, how many do they usually travel with? He said, about 6. So he said that he wasn't into the UFO thing, but he was telling me that that he thought that Borrego had told him that they had gotten word. They put the crew in a motel up at Spence, Georgia. Motier, Georgia, and they were told them to wait for so they were there for several days. And they got word that the president would be leaving in an hour, and they were over 5 minutes from the airport. So they got the plane ready, and I don't know how many Secret Service he took with him, but with 13 Secret Service agents and 2 supervisors, one of them in the White House, by the way.
Right.
The supervisor of the White House detail was on that trip, so it was a fairly important stuff going on. But that would allow 5 or 6 people to stay in Thomasville and pretend Ike was going in and out, and the other several could go with him on his trip. And he said he said they only took 5 or 6 Secret Service on a trip like that. Now there's some guys on the ground doing some work and setting up parade routes and things like that. But and that fact they had taken 13. I said, well, why'd they use 13? He says, oh, well, he thinks Ike went out west somewhere. And I didn't want to break the news to where Ike went, where I thought he went. And I said, well, that is good confirmation out west somewhere from Thomasville, from near Thomasville, Georgia.
Hello?
Yes, hold on. We're going to put you back in here.
Sorry.
Okay.
Somehow everything went dead for a second.
All right, I'm going to try to get Art back in here with us. I might have to drop you here for a second. Hold on a second. Hold on. Okay, let's see if we can get Art back in here. Oh, another one of the great ways that doing a live show really sucks. So we're trying to get Art off of hold, and it doesn't appear to be cooperating with us. Let me see here. Art, can you hear us? Can you hear us at all? No, we can't. Okay, let's go that. Okay, let's go there and try to get Robert back on there and see if we can get everybody back. Here we go.
Yes.
Okay, we have Robert. We're trying to get Art back in there, and Art is busy.
Okay.
So we're just going to go ahead and wait a minute and try to get him back. He's probably still talking, thinking he's still on the air at this point.
Yeah, but my site, Skype, just died completely.
Yes, we had a very similar occurrence here at this end, but it appears that we are back and everything is working the way it should be. We're going to go ahead and see if we can get Art back. Let's see here.
See his little number up there.
Yep.
He is just fantastic, the knowledge he has.
Yes, well, his number is still busy, so...
Yeah, I see that.
Apparently he's still talking and thinking that... and thinking that he's still on the air. He's probably got a really good story going now, and he's telling us all about the aliens and what they were wearing and their shoe sizes and everything, and nobody can hear it.
Listening to his videos the other day, him with Bill Kirkland, they were both just fantastic in the detail they were putting out. I know we sent you the link to the entire show.
I probably did get it. Yes.
Yeah, it's from a different website, and I couldn't copy it.
Right.
But was able to watch it, and it was because they brought that third person in as on a video. on a screen at this 2009 UFO something, and the guy was telling what he was the guy that was on the telephone pole.
Oh, really?
Watching the whole thing, and it's only on that entire show. As soon as I get back to the house, I'll send you that link again.
Okay, well, let's see if we can get Art back on here, and we'll give it one more try. Okay.
One more time.
Yes. Art Cambell, come on down. Let's see if...
the price is
here.
Right.
Ah, there you
Art,
are.
you
We
there?
lost you for a moment. I apologize for that, sir.
Oh, nothing happened. No problem.
It's same here. My Skype just went completely off the computer there for a minute or so.
Bob was just telling us that he was watching a video where they actually interviewed the gentleman that was up on the lineman up on the pole at the Air Force Base during this meeting.
It was the 2009 meeting with you and Bill Kirkland. On a big screen, one of you or someone was playing a video of this other gentleman.
Yeah, it was a tape of his daughter reading a letter.
Oh, okay.
And she had read a letter to me on a videotape, and we had showed her at a conference.
That's what it was. Sorry.
Yeah, right. And so she's reading this letter, and it just this nails the whole thing flat because they wouldn't allow this guy to take off in his plane back to Indiana until the Eisenhower left. He didn't leave till 5 in the afternoon. But the only thing Kirkland saw was Eisenhower's plane, which in itself is significant. But he kept getting reports all day long of people. Have you seen what's out on the tarmac? And the guy said a bunch of people in the control tower, and we think there might have been a third UFO parked over at White Sands National Monument. I think they picked up 3 on the radar. Only 2 came in, so that's interesting.
I'm sorry, I was just discussing something with our production staff, and they pointed out to me that every time I play these alien signals over the air, we lose our Skype, we lose our chat, we lose parts of our internet connection.
Yes, so, I noticed that too.
Yeah, we're wondering. I'm almost wondering if there's some type of encoded signal in this that's
or someone's monitoring and interfering.
Well, I can't believe they could do it that real time, because even just talking about it, they'd want to kill the signal. But it almost seems like there's some type of a quality to these audio files that actually does something within the
signal,
either the network card or the audio circuitry itself.
Quite possibly.
Which is very interesting. Apparently, I'm not going to play them again. What I'm gathering from this. Art, you were telling us about before we lost the phone calls. You were telling us about the Secret Service that went with Eisenhower. I'm wondering what. Have you ever talked to any of the Secret Service personnel that were there on that flight? I imagine that would have made them nervous as anything.
I had to really work hard to just get the information, and I didn't start investigating until 2006 and started putting things out in 2007. By the way, the readers can read the entire story, your listeners, on my website, which is www.ufocrashbook.com. And click on Corso Eisenhower, and you see the whole story there. I thought I would repeat that. There's a whole story there about the Quemoy Matsu, the Red Chinese, everything we knew. We put in that series we did for Fiverr's Files in those years.
I'm going to try and see if I can find it for you, Bill, and send it to you.
Oh, that's fine. I have it up on the screen, and I am putting a text link to it right now so that people can see
it. Yeah, you can send it out. If anybody wants to see it, that's fine.
UFOcrashbook.com.
There you go.
So that is up on there. When I put this up on, Art, we put all of our shows both up on YouTube and they're also as a video on demand and also as an MP3. So when I get all of that done, the link to your site will be with the show so that people can actually go there and follow along.
Oh, that's great. We're glad to be able to help out. And one of the things we've decided to do with our new material, we're not going to hoard it and write a book, and we're going to put it right out there. All the people that we've been in contact with will send them material, and we're just going to release it immediately. Sometimes when the material comes back from the lab.
Okay, good. Yeah, we will. We'll put a link up on there, and we'll quote portions of it. And we have some discussion groups that all of us are involved with. So we'll make sure that the links.
I'll
have
Nancy put a link on our group too.
Yeah, we'll get the. We'll do what we can to help you get the word out. That's for sure.
Well, it's a very fascinating field, and I've been in it a little over 50 years now, on and off. And I don't have any regrets. It's given me a lot to, a lot to think about. And it affects your religious philosophy, how you deal with people, all kinds of things, this knowledge. So it does have a rub-off, too.
Yeah, on a percentage scale, Art, let me ask you a question that I'm pretty sure we all know how you're going to answer it. On a scale of 0 to 100%, how sure are you that this is good information? This is the real thing.
The Eisenhower material?
Yeah, all of it.
Well, I'm 100% sure he was at Holloman.
Okay.
I would say maybe 40 or 50% sure he went aboard a UFO. But why did he go to Holloman, unscheduled? So I can't take a third-hand thing and say I'll give it 100%,
Right.
But I believe Kirtland, his plane was there, and I think Eisenhower was there. Now, why he was there, you and the listeners will have to work it out themselves. It may be he was set up by the Vatican. It'd be a wonderful thought if it was true, and it makes us all feel good about it. But I would say that there's a 100% chance. Sure, he was there. I can't take the word of someone else that saw something and to say that it absolutely happened. But we had two witnesses to the fact that he landed, and one heard him speak, and that was the program that you saw, Bob.
Yes.
And by the way, anybody who wants to see that program, Google Kirkland, Kirklin, and Campbell, just like the soup, Campbell, and that program that was done in Gaithersburg will show up on your internet.
I'm going to post the links on my wife's group, that the Yahoo Colburn something.
Okay. Boris just sent us a message too. He wants to remind everybody that the graphic of the where the signals are coming from, that is on a flat map. So I guess the best way to explain it is that the signals are coming from in front of all of the stars. They're not coming from back among the stars. It's a flat map representation, and the astronomers among you will know what I'm talking about because I have no idea.
Yeah, Bill, they were both at the X Conference 2009.
Okay.
Exopolitics.
Yes, we were. 2009. Yes, that's correct.
Okay, good.
And anybody can pull it up. There's numerous. Danish television did a thing. We didn't know they were back there doing it, and they did a thing on the program, and later released it to the group, Steve Bassett's group. And he put it on the internet.
Wow,
it's a 55-minute program, and it is at www.vimeo.com.
Vimeo.
Yes.
Okay, Vimeo.com.
That's the one that shows the entire show.
Okay, Art, are you in contact with any other living witnesses that witnessed any of this stuff?
No, I'm not. the gentleman that was the Air Force man that I talked to passed away a couple of years ago.
Mm-hmm.
The lady whose father was chased off the pole by the UFO had a little difficulty in her area and is still alive. But all she was able to do was give me the letter, and she read it for me on a video that's, by the way, showed on that program. So we have her reading that letter from her dad about the incident when he was chased off the pole by the UFO. We think the UFO was riding shotgun for Eisenhower for the other UFO,
right?
Keep people, going out there. So that was what it was. So
yeah,
I think they'll be well worth your time to tune that in.
Hey, Art, I'd like to throw in a question real quick while I'm thinking of it. There are several reports on the internet from a person that says that she is President Eisenhower's grand, and she's making several claims in here. One, that the UFOs are helping the world governments to thin the population, and some other things. Have you heard anything about that? Do you know if this is legit?
I heard where she came out of the closet a year or two ago, and his granddaughter would have been she'd have been a daughter of, Eisenhower. David Eisenhower married one of the Nixon girls, didn't he? And so she must be an offspring of that. I didn't know she was involved in this, but I heard she was kind of on the periphery. And I'm not sure Ike would have told anybody but his wife.
Laura, I'm sorry, her name is Laura Magdalene Eisenhower.
I've heard of her.
Right. Yeah, I remember her coming out, and I think there was an article on her in UFO magazine or something to that effect. But I have no idea what she's proposing or what she's involved with.
I'll send you both links to the articles.
That'd be good. I find that very intriguing that one of his grandkids, I guess, or great grandkids, would be involved in this type of information. I find that to be very, very intriguing. I don't know what to make of it, but it's very, very interesting. I don't know if that lends any credence to the story of what happened back in the 50s with Eisenhower or not.
Well, they may not have known about it. It wasn't something he probably talked about at family reunions.
I would think not.
I think it was very, very secret at the time. And as a military man, he knew how to keep secrets.
Yeah.
The link is on your page there, Bill.
Okay. Art, let me ask you: do you know if any other presidents have been, I guess you'd call it, read into this particular event?
No, I actually talked to ex-President Truman in 1959, I think it was, at his library.
Uh-huh.
And I was going to bring up the subject, and I was brought up pretty short, frankly. What was brought up was me, and I was going to ask him if he knew Donald Kehoe, who I was working with at the time as an old NICAP group, the National Investigation Committee on Aerial Phenomena. We'd formed a chapter there in Kansas City, and I asked him at his library. He walked in while I was looking at a piece of sculpture, and if he knew Major Kehoe, he says, no. I'd have had the pleasure. He's a very polite man to talk to. And he said, is he in government? I said, well, he was a major in the Marine Corps. He still looked a little blank. And he's with NICAP, but he still looked a little blank. And I said, they study flying saucers. Well, this conversation ended right there. He said, well, Mr. Cambell, I have some work to do down in my office. And he strode off. And the departure wasn't near as cordial as the greeting. And that was as close as I ever... I understand he had an opportunity. I think Ed Mitchell said that him had an opportunity to meet with an alien race, but turned it down.
I have now that you mentioned who you were involved with, Art, I have a question. I'm going to mention one phrase and see what you can tell us about it. The Dark Knight. Do you know anything about that?
Well, my first thought was the Black Knights, which is the West Point athletics code. But no, I do not. Those words don't mean anything to me.
That would have been a polar-oriented satellite that was picked up in the late 1950s, around the time that Sputnik went up, and I believe Tombaugh was investigating it, as well as Kehoe for the Air Force, because they had no idea what the satellite was, where it came from. There was been a lot of speculation that it was a satellite of alien origin, and they believe that it followed one of the Gemini spacecraft while it was in orbit.
Well, I was in college when the Sputnik was put up. It was 57.
Mm-hmm.
Seems to me it was November. And I recall, as soon as it got up there, the Russians came on the air and said, "This is ours." And I could believe it, you know. And I don't think it was secret at all. Maybe it's secret getting it up there.
Right.
But once that thing started beeping overhead, I mean, they were trying to get some attention with their technology. They did. It changed our whole science education curriculum and everything else over the years. But I don't think that it was up there for very long. It was in secret. They let the world know about it. And my guess is, as soon as it was up, they interviewed somebody from Russia, and they said, "We're speaking English on the program," and then here it is. You know, here's the sounds and everything. It was quite a thing this day.
Yeah, I can imagine so. That was actually a year before I was born. So I've lived with it all of my life, but I imagine when they did it, if you were in college, that would have been quite a shock to everybody.
Well, it was a surprise that they could do it. It wasn't a surprise that it was being done, but it was a surprise that they were that far ahead of us. And it changed our space ideas at the time. I think before too long, President Kennedy was elected in 1960, and he came up with his ambitious space program and so forth, and get a man on the moon by the end of the decade. He made it by a year.
Yeah.
So 69.
Now, why do you think we've never gone back? Do you think it's just a matter of national will, or do you think that supposedly being told not to come back again, do you think that had something to do with it? Well,
I tend to classify that as rumor.
Okay.
The fact that we had millions and millions involved with this, and we had to cut out the last one. I think it would have been 18. I'm not sure, 17, because of financial problems. I don't think they could sustain spending that much money continuously to go other places. I was just as disappointed as anyone when they dropped the space program. But we started concentrating on satellites. I understand there's some 3,500 satellites up there now, and many of them are other countries, not ours. And so it did set a precedent, that's for sure.
Yeah, it did do that. Well, gentlemen, we have gone over our allotted time, so we have sadly reached a point where we have to end the show. But I want to thank both of you for coming on the show. This has been a heck of an experience for me, especially having you on, Art. That it's been a pleasant surprise, and as well as highly, highly informative. I know the audience, from what I've been getting from our producers, has been enjoying this immensely, and they've been getting a lot of good information, I believe, from this.
Well, it has been enjoyable.
Yes. So I want to thank you for being on the show, and Bob, I think we're going to have you on again next week.
Too.
Yeah, I think we're going to have you on again next week because we have some other subjects we want to talk about.
Yes.
Yes. So I am going to thank both of you for coming on the show, and this show will be up on YouTube shortly, as well as on the website in the MP3, and I'll email links to everybody so everybody can listen to themselves and add anything else they want to the conversation. So, Bob and Art, I appreciate you coming on the show.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bill.
Yep.
And thank you, Art, for coming.
It's been a pleasure, Bob.
Fantastic listening.
Yes, yes. I will. I'll be in contact with both of you relatively shortly, and thank you again for coming on the show. And we're going to hang up the phone now. So all I can say is thank you. This has been a heck of an experience for me, guys.
Excellent. I know Amy will be really happy about this.
Yes. And Art, I appreciate you taking time out of your schedule to talk to us. I know you probably.
Well, when you're at my age, there's not much of a schedule. I was looking forward to it. We had a good time.
Well, we're probably just eating into the nap time then.
At least my nap time.
Yeah, mine too. All right, guys. We'll talk to you guys later, and thanks for coming on the show.
Okay, take care.
Okay, bye. And ladies and gentlemen, that was Art Cambell and Bob Evans. Bob's been on the show several times, or once before, and he's going to be on again next week. A big shock to the producers. And as well as Art Cambell. And Art Cambell has done a lot of research into the 1950s theory that President Eisenhower met with some space aliens down there at one of the Air Force bases. Take what you want from that. I thought it was very interesting information, and that's why we're here. So we're going to go ahead and end the show right now. I appreciate everybody showing up. Thank you for stopping by. We will be on the air again tomorrow night with John DiNardo, one of our very favorite guests, and we will probably have another marathon show tomorrow night. So thank you everybody for showing up, and we will talk to you later. This show will start repeating very shortly.